everyone. So in this video today I'm showing the making and the cutting of our neon rainbow soap. It turned out pretty nice. You can see the colors better when I kind of shift it around. I'm baking over the top. I'm very short. There's some ash on the top, but I'm cool with it like usual. So this one is normally scented in Princess Kisses, but I already have a Princess Kisses in its original-ish design, so I didn't want to duplicate the scent. So I used black raspberry and vanilla in this one. I kind of work off to the side with the mold because I have it perfectly level. Now you wouldn't realize how unlevel counters get when you're trying to do straight layers. So I had it in just the right spot. I'd gotten really frustrated actually. I called my husband up and I was like, can you work something to make it be level? And he did, of course, because he's awesome like that. So I work off to the side as far as the pouring, and then I have everything kind of right next to it as I mix all the batches together. So if you want to watch me make this neon rainbow soap, then just keep rolling. So I have my kaolin clay in there, and I'm going to add in my coconut milk. Gonna add in the lye solution. I just remembered that I meant to put this into a different container, but I think we'll make it work. Gonna add in some purple neon. That was messy. Now the key to doing this is to get the batter thick enough that it will set up fairly quickly, but not so thick that it won't spread out nicely. So in with my fragrance oil. So that is the problem with a spout sometimes. So I'm using a black raspberry and vanilla fragrance today, and black raspberry and vanilla is a very easygoing fragrance. Now the last time I made a neon rainbow soap, I used my Princess Kisses scent, but because I've already done my Princess Kisses, which is also a rainbow inspired soap, I didn't want to duplicate it, so I decided to switch it up and go with black raspberry and vanilla, which is a very kind of universally enjoyed fragrance. And it is not one, even though there's vanilla in the name, it doesn't discolor. So every supplier pretty much has a black raspberry and vanilla, and everyone is just a titch different. So you just kind of have to try the different ones and see what you like, because everybody likes something different. It's not even at a trace yet. I really do want it to be a little bit thicker, so I'll clean up my mess here and come back to pour. So it's just at a light trace. So I'm going to go ahead and pour. I don't like pouring in emulsification, so I just wanted to make sure that it was going to go ahead and thicken up for me. So this is where it's not going to be super ideal for you. I'm hoping it doesn't blur out at all. But it's more important that I get this batch level. So I don't usually film the mixing and the pouring for my rainbow soaps. This is why I usually kind of work all over the place. Smells so good. I'm still doing all right here, but I suspect that it's going to take a while to set up. So in between the batches, I'm going to clean up my containers and prep my fragrance again and my coconut milk again, clean off my stick blender, and come back to you. I'm going to add in the coconut milk again. Probably for the next ones I'll cut this section out, because that's a lot of extra. I have been sitting at my desktop for laptop for a little bit. This batch, the 4 in between colors are just a little bit of a smaller one because I do cut out I do plane the bottom a little bit, so I want the purple to have a little bit more. And then on the top, I tend to texture it just a little bit, so I want the top to have a little bit more. Now, I don't use neon blues because I don't like what color they turn, at least the ones I've used so far. So I just have some blue vibrant mica. Once it, I don't know, once it kind of combines, I think it gets this like tealy color, and I think it still works out. So the fragrance oil. I'm gonna add a little bit more because it is gonna fade out and I want it to be potent like the others. I do get asked a lot how much time in between pouring layers. It completely varies. I may stick blend one batch longer than the other, you know, one color longer than the other, which means I can either pour it sooner or quicker. This is gonna set up sooner or later. How's that for vague? That's pretty vague, I understand that. But that is the point. There's not a set time and it's not equal between the batches. It all has to do with the fragrance and how long I'm blending it. If I was doing this with my Princess Kisses scent, it is an accelerator. So I would be stick blending it less, pouring it quicker, and moving on quicker. But because black raspberry and vanilla is kind of easy going, that's not the case. So I've already put my stick blender in the water, but I probably would have stick blended this just a little bit more, bring it to a light tray so I can go ahead and pour. But I'm going to let it just sit here and do its thing for a moment. These are my new favorite spatulas. This one is marked Crafter's Choice. I got it at Wholesale Supplies Plus. This is totally my new favorite. I love it. I love that it's flat. My green ones I usually use are kind of a spatula, and these actually work real nice. Look at all the different, you know, angles it's got going on. Super nice spatula, and I think they just now started carrying these. So I'm just going to flood this on, and all we're doing is keeping the pressure from the soap coming out of the spout from penetrating into, whoa, the next level. So I'm trying to shimmy this without really moving it from its location. So I probably should have poured this on just a bit sooner because I want it to fall down in. So the point of me doing 7 batches is to 6 is to avoid the stress of it. So this is why I just need to pour sooner and wait in between time. So I haven't even waited for this batch. I just cleaned up, remeasured, and here we go. I've measured out exactly what I need of each of the colors. So I'm adding most of it, but not scraping out the container. And the fragrance. Just barely at a light trace. So I'm going to go ahead and pour in while it's thinner so that it smooths out better and I can still scrape the container. Like I moved a little bit of blue around there. Must have hit it with my container, huh? Oh, you got to be more careful than that, lady. I'm sure you saw that and were like, ooh. Got to be careful. There's a lot to keep track of when you make soap. So that's pretty nice and smooth. But it is starting to set up. So this is about perfect. for this neon orange. This one just really kind of slaps you in the face, doesn't it? Like, reaches out, smack! I am orange. This is pretty set up, but I think I'll still just flood it just so it doesn't go down in. Of course, you know, I did that my own self. Those bars are really messed up, which I'm sure they will be. It'll be interesting to watch my playback. I will just use them myself. So, win-win. I'm just gonna let this flood out like I did my rainbow soap batch, my regular one. I don't know why I haven't been doing it this way. I just change my mind sometimes. Okay, so here we go with the final layer. I'm going to add in the pink before I add in the lye solution because it's going to get quite full again. And now I'm going to add in the lye solution. I debated getting a larger pot, but then decided that I did actually get by, so why dirty something else at this point? I'll just try to be more careful. Last bit of fragrance oil. I've been passing my time in between some of these layers talking to my friend about kombucha. I haven't made any kombucha for, well, it's been about a year. When we went to Montana last year in May, I let the, you know, I put it kind of like on vacation or whatever you call it, and I just never was able to be productive with the kombucha after that. So I'm thinking I need to get back to it. So does anybody else make kombucha from scratch? I've bought scobies from Kombucha Brooklyn and Cultured Food Life, and I'm kind of tempted to try growing my own by buying just a regular kombucha and just see what happens, just because I'm not like, I just am not feeling as in depth into the whole process this time. That would require me to spend another $20, $25 on a SCOBY. And I know I could get one from a friend, and many subscribers and customers have suggested also. But that's just kind of an experiment I want to do. And so I think I will. I already make kefir, and I make kind of like an easy kimchi. I just love it. So good. Good for you. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and pour this. If I could, I would like it just to be a flat layer. I decided I'm probably not going to texture it all, so we'll see how that goes. This little flooding spatula is from Brambleberry. It's definitely a favorite tool. So I probably don't need this entire amount because I'm not texturing it. This layer may end up being a little too thick. So I may just pour just a wee bit of it out, but I don't know, we'll just roll with it. Let's roll with it. It's not that much different. And if it's too thick on top, we'll just be like, hey, that's too thick on top, and move on with our lives. So I'm probably just going to spray this with alcohol. The thinner you pour a soap, the more issues are going to be with ash in my experience. So I'm going to have to be very diligent on keeping this one sprayed. I want to be a rebel. I do that every now and again and say that I don't like 99% alcohol. I've had more ash using 99%. And I think that's because it evaporates too quickly. And so I really do like 91%. It's bright and beautiful. It is going to tone down a little bit. So I'm just going to put on a little bit of just Snowflake Sparkle. I don't want the silver essence from the rainbow glitter from Brambleberry. So I'm just using some sparkly, just kind of like a sparkly white biodegradable glitter. Just want the shimmer on the top of this. It looks so pretty like that. Okay, so here we have the Neon Rainbow Soap, and it is the 7th soap in my Rainbow Extravaganza. We have quite a lot made already. Rainbow, Confetti Blossom, Sweetly Clean, Sparkle Fruit Salad, Princess Kisses, and Fruit Loops type. So I will see you back here for the cut. Alright, so I'm back to cut the Neon Rainbow Soap, and I was concerned about it overheating, but I haven't noticed any specific glycerin rivers or anything. Now, something a little different happened. In the very center of the mold, where it likely overheated, I have been dealing with ash. Very, very strong ash. And I think I'm starting to get it under control. You can probably, here, let's put this down. Probably, I don't know if you can see, the light sometimes gives weird reflections. But right in the middle of this loaf is a thing of ash. And it's kind of a pain in the butt, and I've soaked it down and wiped it a little. So I will probably come back with a little bit more glitter. But I also have just a little bit of color fluctuation. And it's like it's right there in the middle. I don't know if you can see that. I think you can, like right there. So, just weird things happen. Now, I am not pleased with my purple on this one. It works. It totally works with what we're doing. But let me show you a batch of Huckleberry Fluff. Now, keep in mind, I'm redoing this batch because I totally cut it the wrong direction. But I just wanted to show you. Look at that purple. Look how different that is. Same colorant, just different usage of it. Can you see that? Anyway, also in the pink, I wish I would have gotten that pink also, but it's the way it is. We'll just roll with it. So This one, I didn't realize that I was pretty much out of my huckleberry fragrance. So I mixed a little bit of my elderberry with it. And it does smell very good, but it still ended up being light. And I went ahead with it, and now I'm basically going to use it for something else. Because I cut it wonky. I laid out the fluff. I laid out the fluff the wrong direction in comparison to the hanger swirl. So, yeah. I'm redoing it. I will sell them as Gone Wonkies and as, remember, I'm talking about this one. I will probably sell that batch as Gone Wonkies, and I'm also going to use it for some embeds also. So it won't be a loss, but that is my goal today, is to remake that soap. I'm on my 4th soap cutting video of the morning. I haven't even had my coffee yet. I just wanted to get these done so that I could work on editing while I was drinking my coffee. So my heavy duty computer, as I call it, it's a desktop with, you know, the fancy video graphic cards and the memory and all that. It's downstairs at a desk. My husband and I have a desk in our dining room because we don't actually have, like, we have a table off of our kitchen that we eat at. But this is an actual, like, probably formal, that'd probably be the word. It's a formal dining room, and we don't use it because if there's something that my husband and I are not, it's formal. We are not formal people. You will never find me formal. Even my wedding, my anniversary was just the other day. And I was telling my friend Mel about my wedding. We're so not formal people. And my husband and I think we just bucked the system. I pretty much just showed up to my wedding. We drove up from Florida because we both lived in Florida. He was on the Navy base in Mayport, Jacksonville. I was down in Port Charlotte. And so we basically just met up and drove to Missouri for our wedding. And it was basically just kind of a silly affair. Now that I think about it, I would go back and do it a little different. I was 19 years old. I probably would have done it a little different. But the point is, my husband and I are just not formal people, so a formal wedding is just kind of a joke, really. But it's our story, and so it is what it is, and we are pleased with our story, because something else wouldn't have been our story. Anyway, where was I going at? Formal. Backtracking. Anyway, we have a desk in our dining room, and that's where I sit to edit. But it's downstairs, and the only thing that shares with downstairs is my memory card. So we don't have to worry about, you know, if you see me posting about editing and you see like a picture of my Doberman or something, I'm just downstairs editing, and it has nothing to do with my actual soap studio. That's just where I do my work. And the reason for that is so I could have some time with my family. When I'm spending so many hours designing labels and writing listings and editing video and pictures, we just like to all be together. My husband pretty much works from home, so we just sit there together because we love each other. And anyway, that's my goal, is to take my memory card with me, put it into my computer, and drink coffee and edit video this morning. So that's why I'm up here before coffee to do this. So I think it turned out pretty good. I have pretty good lines. I'm pretty happy about it. There are going to be some bars where I screwed up. They're pretty. This is going to be a hard one to take a picture of. I'm finding that I'm really struggling to take pictures with of the rainbows. It's like the camera's just like, out of control. Just can't figure things out. Anyway, there are a couple bars over here that are going to be horked up because I screwed up and put my pot down into my blue. Do you see that? But it's likely only going to be 2, maybe 3 bars. And I'll either use those as samples or embeds or just mine. Because if there's one thing about it, Soapmaker, they rarely get to use a full bar of soap. We just, as long as you have product that is sellable, you try to keep it that way. So unless it's a soap that's really not selling very well, which happens occasionally, especially men or masculine type ones or ones that aren't fruity or whatever, sometimes they'll sit around longer and I'll take one of those. But for the most part, the Soapmaker does not ever get to use a full bar of their soap. So here we have the Neon Rainbow. I think it turned out pretty darn good. I'm very pleased with it. And I am now caught up on soap cutting, and I'm going to clean off this table and make soap later today. Alright guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.